legend tells of a legendary warrior whose kung fu skills were extraordinary but deadly, only matched by those of awesomeness.
He's talking about me! The Dragon Warrior from everybody's favorite movie franchise, Kung Fu Panda. Hi, my name's Po, and before this video even gets started, I would like to preface before anybody takes this out of context, I am a panda. I didn't have my girlfriend to do my face paint for this one, so me, as a non-artist, this was the best you're gonna get, the best I can do. But I was thinking about making a video talking about horrible reviews of animated movies, and somebody had the audacity to call Kung Fu Panda extremely fat-phobic and saying that it was one of the scums of the earth, so I had to make a video about that, and I figured, you know, if I'm gonna be supporting Kung Fu Panda, I might as well be Po! You know? Everybody's favorite sexy looking panda. I think it's going to go great. So I'm going to be looking at a couple of reviews from a bunch of different movies that are extremely popular, extremely beloved, and honestly cherished movies in my heart, looking at reviews that absolutely trash them, that hate them, and honestly make me pretty pissed off. If you like content just like this, like, subscribe, you know the drill. Let's take a look at those reviews. 1 out of 10 stars. Animated tale of a panda who dreams of becoming a kung fu master. I could only watch half of this movie. Then I had to call it quits for me and my daughter. Imagine teaching people to prejudge and ridicule people based on looks. The panda looks like a panda, and that's how he's supposed to look, and he stands there and accepts the poking and prodding and ridicule that is heaped upon him. And it made me sad to watch. If the panda were a female, or if he was a caricature of a visible minority, jokes of the same connotation would be inexcusable. So how is this funny? This person rambles on for another few paragraphs, trying to put facts and statistics about health into this, which is so weird when you're watching a movie about a panda. And this is coming from a big guy. If you were to put your hand on my shoulder, you wouldn't say, "Hey there, twink." You would say, "Hey there, big guy." I don't have an even slight problem with the movie being about a fat, overweight panda. Why would I? First off, you should always strive for health. That's just a known thing. But I don't think there was a single kid or child watching this who watched Po get bullied and looked at, you know, Big Ed over here just sitting here who sees 600 pounds and be like, "You're a panda! He's a panda! What are you gonna do, big guy? Sit on me?" It's just so weird to put this real life connotation into it like it's this deep thing when it's not. I honestly feel bad for your daughter because she's missing out on a great lesson. The movie immediately has Po being made fun of for the way that he is. But throughout the movie, he has a hero's journey where he learns to become better. Despite his size, despite his weight, despite his limitations, he is able to overcome adversity and become a kung fu master and earns the respect of everybody in the valley. Everybody loves Po by the end of this movie, and guess what? He opens the goddamn scroll, and there is no secret ingredient. You know what the secret ingredient was? It was himself. He was all he needed to be great. He needed to be a fat tubby panda looking at Tai Lung sitting on him with his big fat ass, and that's how he did it. It is actually a great movie to showcase that even if you have physical limitations, even if you are overweight, you could still strive to be a better person and be a better version of yourself. You took that away from your daughter, that beautiful lesson. Like, what, are you watching Nemo and the second the son gets kidnapped, you're like, "No, this is too, avert your eyes, child, you can't see this." Like, genuinely. That's not happening. Do you watch Toy Story? Do you take your daughter to Toy Story and the second they start fighting? Fighting in my movies? My child does not fight, and she will not be learning about that. Like, what are we talking about? That's so baffling that this is what you're going on about. And I say this as a bigger guy. You should always strive to be extremely healthy. It's perfectly fine to love yourself just the way you are, but no matter what, work out, eat better, strive to be a better person for yourself. Always strive for health. That doesn't mean you need to put other people down for the way they look, but going into it like this is just such a stupid philosophy. You know? Like, I just can't imagine, like, did they read any story where a character is put down and they're like, "No, they're pointing out his flaws. How could they?" It's so unbelievably weird. Like, this is one of the most baffling reviews I've ever seen, and I have to question, do they like any movies where a character has struggle, where he has strife, or is it just if the main character is fat and then betters himself that they got a big old mean stinky problem with it? Oh, you goobers! Oh, overweight people in my movie! You know, like, if anything, you're just making yourself look even worse. You're making everything look worse by even putting this down to paper, pen to paper. It's just so weird, man. Like, Kung Fu Panda is a staple example of a big fat guy doing amazing things, and you're like, nope. What the hell is this? I don't like this. It's just so weird. Such a weird review. I can't even, like, fathom that this is even a thing. And the fact that you could stand there and be like, if Poe was a female or a minority, well, this movie wouldn't be made. Yeah, I don't really think it would. Because it works perfectly because it is a panda. If they took a girl and the entire movie was like, you can't do Kung Fu because you're a woman, I don't think people would like that very much. That probably would still be a movie where she goes out to prove herself, but still. And then if let's take if they made Poe a black man, I don't really think the movie would go over very well, especially if it was a kids movie. If they were like, you can't do this because you're black. Yeah, I don't really think that would be a great thing. And then they would just make fun of him for what? Being black? Really? That's your great comparison? And even, like, let's put it in a real world aspect. What if Poe was a, like, 600-pound man? That just would also suspend my belief even more because he doesn't fall into any kind of stereotype that would be associated with a panda. The reason that the movie works is because he is a panda and every other panda is like that. He is proving that pandas are more and thus proving that this fat, lazy panda can do more. All right, that's the end of my rant. Let's go to a different review.
Give me Winnie the Pooh any day. Okay, I'll keep this short and sweet. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Kung Fu Panda stank. I hated it. I absolutely hated Poe the Panda. It should have been Poop the Panda. It really figures that Poe's voice belonged to the unfunny nincompoop Jack Black. As far as so-called lighthearted family entertainment goes, Kung Fu Panda on a whole was flat, uninspired, predictable, empty-headed, and utterly stupid. Yes, you of course may not agree with what I've said here, and hey, that's okay, but do keep in mind the movie really irked me off, especially for the time I sat down watching it. And of course, and at that point, I think I made myself quite clear, and I shouldn't feel the need to explain why of every single statement that I made.
Why are they acting like somebody's huffing and puffing on their neck like... Why did the movie bother you? Like, did he write that and then he was like checking around on his shoulder like, I'm talking bad about the panda. They're gonna come for me. I don't know why he's talking like that. And he just gives the vibe of somebody who, after watching this, turned on Honey Boo Boo and was like, oh yeah, that's my queen. No ifs and or buts, huh, Honey Boo Boo? Like, that's just the kind of vibe that he's giving me, especially with his thrilling comedic timing of insulting the movie by calling Poe poop. I could just imagine, like, he had his 8 kids behind him and his wife just all like going like hunched over like, you're doing great, honey, as he's like, guys, check out this one, Poe. Yeah. What if he was called Boob? And his whole family's like, as he locks the door and chains it up and nobody's allowed to leave. All 8 of his children are just staring at him like wondering when they're gonna get their next saltine cracker. Like, it's just giving me that kind of vibe. Like, who actually says, and there's no ifs, ands, or buns about it. It's just so wild that people like this exist. And I just love the title as well. Give me Winnie the Pooh any day. He's just sitting there. He's like, oh God, there's a bear in this movie. There's a panda, but he hasn't mentioned honey once. Where's Tigger? Where's the pig at? Where is everyone? Christopher Robin! Like is that what you're expecting going into this? I think it's wild. also has the audacity to say, but do keep in mind, this movie really irked me off. But I'm not going to explain why it did any of that. I'm not going to explain what bothered me. But I want you to keep in mind as you go to bed that this movie pissed me off. Now, don't mind me. I'm going to get back to watching Honey Boo Boo if you don't mind.
1 out of 10 stars. Poe. More like poo. Get it? And of all the atrocious things I could spend my time on, this film was the worst possible thing. If there's any person who would say that this is their favorite movie, I would like to bonk them in the head. I did not laugh once at any of the lines. We get it. Poe is fat, but the movie recycles that joke again and again and again. The animation is standard at best. It does not shine, nor could it be considered beautiful. The villain is average, the plot is archetypal, and the action scenes are boring. I left the theater stiff. I only wish that less movies were like this, and more like the classic Jurassic World. Thank you. Good night.
Why do you have to top that all off with,
Thank you. Thank you. Good night.
It's definitely giving me the vibes of like somebody who goes from movie to movie all day and he just landed in Kung Fu Panda and decided to watch it. He's hunched over on the floor because he didn't buy a ticket. It's a packed theater.
And he's like, a piece of popcorn. Is that a kernel? Oh, somebody spilled their Slurpee.
Like, that's the vibe that he's giving me here, because what do you expect when you go to see a movie called Kung Fu Panda? Genuinely, it's gonna be about a panda, he's overweight, and he becomes a better person. Also, dissing my main man Tai Lung. Tai Lung, especially as a kid and even now, I think is one of the coolest villains in any animated movie. Genuinely. His introduction scene where he's battling his way out of the prison, fighting hundreds of rhinos, beating their ass, just defying physics by launching himself, is so fucking cool. Yes, by the end of the movie, he gets, what are you gonna do, big guy? Sit on me? And Poe just lays his fat ass all over him. But still, it was unbelievably epic, and I thought he worked very well for the movie, and for Poe to be overcoming a villain who couldn't see past his, own faults and couldn't accept who he was. I thought it was a great counter to what Poe was and who Poe would become for the movie. Tai Lung is awesome. Also, just a couple of things that I like to highlight. We got a second person who just is snickering to themselves, just on the computer like, Poe. Pooh. Poe? Pooh. Shit. Or they just go to the bathroom after watching Kung Fu Panda and they're just like, ah! On the toilet, and they're like, oh my god, do I have an idea? Because, I don't know. Again, it's just so wild that you would go on the internet and share that one and be so proud of it. You would like to bonk people on the head if this was their favorite movie. Now, there's only a couple of shows that I could possibly relate that to, but if somebody came up to you and said that Kung Fu Panda was the favorite movie, would you genuinely be like,
see? Kung Fu Panda, huh? You think you... Hang on. Sorry, I had to take my inhaler. Oh! I think I got a hernia. Somebody help me.
Like, that's how I imagine this type of person would be if they were ever to be in an interaction of somebody telling them that Kung Fu Panda was their favorite movie. Genuinely. Don't know what's going on there. And then just a few more things. I left the theater stiff. What? You left the theater stiff, you say? Stiff. Now, typically if you stiff people, you don't really pay. But to get into a movie, you gotta pay. Unless you snuck in there. And what else do I think of when I think of stiff in this connotation? Now, you left the theater stiff. Now, if you said stiffed, like maybe you're a little bit, feeling bad, like you've been cheated, conned out of some money, you left stiffed, but you said you left stiff. Did Poe get you bricked up, big guy? Did you see those big juggling panda features, his big voluptuous ass, and you just couldn't contain yourself? So much so that you had to go home and write about it on the internet like, I didn't really like the movie, but it did get me stiff, so who am I to complain? Just wanted to highlight that. And then Jurassic World. I would like to highlight that Jurassic World was not out at the time, so I'm assuming you mean Jurassic Park. And who the fuck says that? Is that what you say about other movies? Like, that's such a, apples to oranges, Kung Fu Panda, where are the T-Rexes?
Where are they? Where's the dinosaurs? I need them now.
Like, was he screaming and stood up in front of everybody in the theater? Guys, I don't mean to alarm you, but this isn't like Jurassic Park. There's an animated panda behind me. Just baffling, some people's decisions. I just can't believe it. Yeah. What a character, to say the least. Now moving on to How to Train Your Dragon. 1 out of 10.
Nothing we have not seen before. How did this rubbish get to 156 on the IMDb charts ahead of classic movies such as Ben-Hur? Must have been a bunch of monkeys voting. As soon as I heard the Scottish accents of the adults and then inexplicably the kids speaking with American accents, I knew I would hate this movie. I at least tried to make it somewhat realistic so that I could spend a minuscule amount of disbelief, but no, they decided to go and make it stupid accents instead, very predictable too. It's a typical kids movie, therefore zero suspense, zero surprises. The Incredibles is 10 times better than this. It's nowhere in the IMDb top 250, go figure.
I figured that guy deserved a really stupid accent for his very stupid review. I don't know if it's just me, but I don't necessarily expect the voice acting of an animated movie to be exactly going with the lineage, and I feel like they made up for it with very specific characters, like Stoic. Stoic sounds like an unbelievable badass and sounds exactly like he should for being a Viking, having that nice, thick Scottish accent, and tons of other characters in the movie have those, except for the kids. It's literally just the kids, and I think that's fine. I wasn't really aching, just be like, oh, because Hiccup didn't walk up to his father and be like,
Oi, Dad, I saw me a Night Fury.
I don't mean to disrespect any, like, Scottish people, by the way. I can't do a Scottish accent. Either way, I wasn't expecting that. I actually really like Hiccup's voice. I think it's done extremely well, and I think it works well for the character, and it honestly made that character a lot more iconic. If I hear that specific voice, I don't think, oh man, that's a Scottish voice actor. I literally think, oh, that's Hiccup. It works very well. Same with almost every single other child character in the movie. I feel like you're just getting really wishy-washy here and saying that there was no suspense, no surprises. There was so much good shit about How to Train Your Dragon. Like, all of the interactions where Hiccup is initially befriending Toothless, you don't know what's gonna happen. Obviously, you could assume, oh, well, you know, it's called How to Train Your Dragon. I bet nothing bad's gonna happen to Hiccup because, you know, he trains the dragon, right? Like, really? Do you go into The Godfather and get upset when it's about The Godfather? Is that your problem? Or you're like, I can't believe the mafia's in this movie. That was really predictable. Like, what are you talking about, man? There's a lot of good suspenseful moments and moments that you couldn't see coming, like Hiccup losing his leg, the reveal of the giant dragon, all of the teaching moments and all of learning with the dragons. I just think, I don't know, I think you're a bland, boring human being here. Very boring. You're lacking whimsy.
1 out of 10 stars. Does not live up to its rating. I get that this is a children's movie, but why do the older Vikings have Scottish accents? And their children offspring chat as though they've just left them all with American accents and rampant cliches. The main character wants a girlfriend and is sad that he'll probably never get to go on a date. Wait, what? For that matter, why do any of the Vikings have a Scottish accent? And did any female Vikings ever leave their homes in hearse or whatever? Also, how come the dragon knew so many human gestures when he barely spent any time around the main character or any other human? He's gesturing with his head at the fish, indicating that the boy must eat it, and mimicking the act of swallowing. Really? Watching this, you'd think that there was nothing but a language barrier between humans and reptilian creatures. This movie's just silly. Way too childish. If you're over the age of 10, go watch Shrek again instead.
Really? We got the average Discord mod preaching to his Discord kittens here. I actually was so baffled reading this for the first time. Obviously, they have the complaint about the accents again. Not really going to touch on that, but you could smell the incel coming from the screen here. Are you really going to complain that a kids movie that is, you know, supposed to be uplifting and exciting has female Vikings in it, and it's literally mainly just Astrid, who they decided to make a badass female character? Like, really? Really? Did you just see Astrid coming on the screen like, oh yeah, I'm a badass woman? No! There can't be a woman in a Viking movie! She should be in her home right now, or I'm gonna freak out. He's just staring. He immediately calls his kitten.
Princess. You know you always understand me, princess. Listen. If I was to cosplay as a Viking, princess, you would stay at home and just cook me meals, right, princess? You would never want to go out onto the dangerous field, princess, and try and get hurt. You'd never want to do that, right, princess?
Is that what he's saying to everybody? Because that's just giving me the vibe of that. I can't believe you would watch something like How to Train Your Dragon and your immediate reaction is, ugh, a woman. Ugh, God. What the fuck is this shit? Like, I don't know. Maybe if it was, extremely a historical analysis of Viking lifestyle, which I don't even know anything about, maybe women really did just stay home in the Viking era. I don't know. Maybe that was the thing. But, there's kind of like a really big thing that kind of plays into this fantasy idea. This whole, this isn't supposed to be that realistic.
There's a fucking dragon in the movie. There's a dragon in the movie. Man, I'm surprised that women are allowed to do anything in this movie because, Vikings, they shouldn't be hanging out with women. They should only be with their dragons. Like, that would be realistic, bruh.
What the fuck? That's just so weird. It's so unbelievably odd. And then let's just focus on the last thing you say here. Okay? You're very upset that Toothless is able to have, human, mimicking human capabilities, such as gesturing for Hiccup to eat it. Why is that what you're hinging on as being so unbelievably awful? First of all, Toothless is just doing what a lot of other creatures would do, and that is share food. I have my bitch-ass cat, who is a free-roam cat. Whenever he comes home, he brings me a rabbit. And he's brought over 20 of them, and it makes me terribly sad every time, but he just brings them not to eat them, but to share it. Animals do that. That's a real thing. And this guy's sitting here like, oh God, an animal wanting to share food with a human? And there's women in this movie? Oh! Like, just freaking out. And also, Toothless, swallows, and he's watched Hiccup eat before, and it's not that hard of a concept for him to see that Hiccup doesn't want to eat it and go like this. Yeah, that's all he did. Did that really get you huffing and puffing? Everybody could smell you in the theater, just like, that guy hates women. Oh no, he doesn't like the dragon. Oh, it's starting to get stinky in here. That's just what I imagine the theater experience was like. That's crazy. This guy's crazy. What an incel. Now on my way to Shrek. 1 out of 10 stars. I'm gonna try to do this in a Gingy voice, the gingerbread man. Toilet humor! Lots of toilet humor! Sexual innuendos, etc. Not sure why they do this stuff. Do they feel like adults won't bring their children to movies if this kind of thing is not there? I brought my 3-year-old to see this movie and sort of regret doing it. I guess the PG rating should have been a bit of a clue what was in the works. Genuinely, what were you expecting? Of course there's going to be adult jokes in an animated film. I think almost every single movie tends to do this. And even then, as a kid, I've seen Shrek since I was literally probably 1 year old. And I didn't even notice a lot of the, older adult jokes till I was, midway through as a teenager. And I gotta say, the movie is pretty loaded, but you brought your 3-year-old child to see Shrek. I don't think there was a single thing in this movie where your 3-year-old was like, oh, my mind is frying. It's so inappropriate. Genuinely, what could have bothered you this much? The only scene that I could even think of, remotely as being that bad would be maybe when Lord Farquaad is sitting there staring at Fiona and he's semi-chubbed. It's up in the bed, it's up in the air. But even then, what are you doing when you see that in the movie? Child, avert your eyes! It's a penis! You just start screaming and exclaiming exactly what it is so that your child is all like, Mommy, what is that thing underneath the covers? No, I didn't even notice Lord Farquaad was semi-chubbed until I was also a teenager. And even then, if it's a 3-year-old, why are you even worried about it? I guarantee you're not going to look at your 3-year-old and be like, well, Junior, guess it's time to tell you about the cock. No, nobody in their right mind would do that. The only scene that I could actually pinpoint in Shrek as being, a bit too much is when Shrek is like, oh, well, I have to save me ass. What are you talking about? Really? Really? That's maybe what got you up in the air. He said ass, referring to a donkey, which literally every 4-year-old would probably laugh at, and it wouldn't change their trajectory in life in any meaningful way. But, you know, you could go on the internet and be mad about it. And I love all of the adult stuff in Shrek so much because it makes the movie so much more rewatchable. Like when the pigs are all mad and he's all like, oh, he huffed and he puffed and he signed an eviction notice. You know, as a child, I would never get that joke because I was unbelievably fucking stupid, but as an adult I could be like, he huffed and he puffed and he signed an eviction notice. You know, just things like that. And there's so many more conversations that they have in that movie that is just really funny and gets better with age, and I think that honestly makes the movie a lot more timeless and a lot more enjoyable. And I still think Shrek is perfectly fine for kids, unless you're raising your kid and just being all like, Lord Farquaad, his penis is gonna be up in this scene, so we're gonna skip over that. You know, it's just weird. 1 out of 10 stars. A movie for Americans, in it. First, I was gonna say something I didn't know before going to the theater. The movie is a parody of Disney movies, so don't expect very much from this because that isn't the major objective here. It's totally computer-generated movie. That's a thing you don't see every day. Secondly, you won't give this movie an 8 unless you're an American or a monkey of an American trying to be like an American, because you'll need to know a lot of American culture. All American fairy tales have been put on Disneyland and no American culture generally. This movie is better than average movies. Has nice computer graphics and some funny stuff, but it's at most a 7. Oh, if you want to see this movie, watch it in theaters, or you won't enjoy the computer graphics at all, and it'll only be a little funny movie. Bro, what? What are you talking about? Like, what? Like, where are you going to see this? He's like, go, I'm doing it for the Queen, innit? Gonna do it for the Queen, innit? What the hell? An ogre who wants love and to be cared for? This is American! Like, I don't know. I can't think of anything that's, like, so overly American. I can't even think of any references, necessarily. Like, obviously, if you go to, like, Shrek 2, Shrek 3, even Shrek 4, there's probably going to be a lot more references. But I think the first Shrek is literally just a ogre, which normally typically wouldn't be the main character for a fairy tale, and that's the entire subversion. A big, fat, stinky ogre isn't supposed to have the happy ending. He's typically supposed to be the monster in the story. What do you mean? Where you're like, an ogre? No, this is too American for me. And this is coming from a guy who is American, who also agrees that Americans are extremely fucking dumb. Like, the majority of the time, Americans suck. Like that's coming from an American right here. We typically suck, but I don't really see your argument here. I think it's a little bit too far-fetched for me to take a look at Shrek saving a princess, falling in love with her, not getting to be with her because she views him potentially as a fat, stinky ogre, only to learn that's not how she views him, and they fall in love. That's so American. They're falling in love, yeah? That's not good, yeah? Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to like and subscribe. Let's shoot for 400 likes, and I'll do the same kind of video for a bunch of different other animated movies, maybe some Disney movies, some Pixar movies, all those, you know, really good movies. Kind of stuck to a little bit of DreamWorks here, but we could stretch that out and do a bunch of other things. I actually really like this concept for a video. I really like reading these reviews and just kind of giving my take on them, giving you guys silly impressions and just cracking a couple jokes here. I have a really good time with that, so I hope you guys had a good time with it too. I'm gonna take this makeup off. My right eye has been burning for the past 30 minutes. I don't know if that's normal. I'm not sure. So, you know, gonna deal with that. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care of yourself. Drink water. Eat some food. Enjoy your summer. Or, wait, if it's not summer for you, enjoy life, I guess. All right. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.